Hello, Cecil County and the world. Rob Turnside here for Cecil TV, and we have a very special interview today with Summer Dean, who will be performing in Elkton Music Hall on May the 2nd. That's Friday, May the 2nd, starting at 8 p.m. in Elkton Music Hall, and she's won so many things, and we talked about her accolades. She was voted Honky Tonk Woman of the Year at the Ameripolitan Music Awards. There are so many awards, and you've won lots of them. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Ameripolitan is, I've won Outlaw Female there too. It's an international award or international group, I guess, started by Dale Watson. And he started it in an effort to uh, give a base or a platform for people that play country music, but not necessarily the mainstream pop country music that's out there. And so there's four categories of Ameripolitan music. There's honky tonk, outlaw, rockabilly, and western swing. And there's female, male, and group categories in each of those categories. And so it's been a really great thing, the Ameripolitan Awards, and Dale Watson's, just amazing. So
I was reading your. That's one of the names I read. I tried to do some research, and I ended up putting my beans in, but I researched a little bit, and I read this article, or I guess it's a radio interview from Lonesome Highway in 2023. Is that a magazine or a radio show, or what is that?
Lonesome Highway, I think, is an online magazine, maybe as well too. I don't know. That one was a couple of years ago, so
Right.
I don't quite remember every publication, but I think it's international too. I'm not sure. No,
Anyway,
or at least not right now. I can't remember. Usually I can.
you mentioned a lot of different names that I thought, well, I got to listen to this person. I've never heard this person. There's so much good music out there,
There is, yeah.
and I'm looking forward to seeing your show on May 2nd. Um,
Thank you.
what can people come to the show expect?
Well, typically we're a full band and honky tonk and dance hall thing. And this time I'm coming solo. And so it'll be a real songwriter type thing. It's still full of stories and still fun. And it's still a honky tonk night. You just kind of get a little bit of the primalness, I guess, the primitiveness of what we do down here in Texas in the dance hall. And
Right.
and the most recent album I put out was a songwriting album, and Bruce Robison, one of the best songwriters ever, produced it. And so I'm excited. This is an area that I haven't been to before, and it's cool to get to do, I just jargon out there, like maybe not these like major markets, but to do the markets where the people actually are, where the good old soft of the earth people actually are. So I'm really excited to come.
Oh, you're going to see a lot of the soul of the earth up there in Elkton. It's the county
Oh,
seat.
cool.
And if you see my hat, you see Mr. Bo on there. Mr. Bo, Natty Bo's big beer up there. They serve that big 16-ounce cans. It's the best bargain up there. Uh,
Cool.
that's what Doug tells me anyway. Doug and I
Yeah,
are both
that is
drummers, so we
so you're
love
told.
music. We love music, and that's how we got started doing this. And
Well, that's so good. Well, you made a good point in that, when you were talking about, the accolades and haven't heard or whatever, people need to understand everywhere, not just there or in Texas, everywhere. Just because you haven't heard of an artist doesn't mean they're very good or not very good or not very successful.
right.
There's no way to hear of everyone. And I guarantee you that if, I'm going to put on a great show and you're going to laugh and you're going to love the songs. And I'm just really excited to come.
Well, we're excited to have you, and we're looking forward to it. Elkton Music Hall is like one of the cultural jewels of Cecil County. I mean, um, uh, Rick and his wife came down and decided to open this music hall, and I wanted to take the pictures like on the rehab shows of day one, week two, week three, and have it all of a sudden instantly be built, but I just couldn't get it together to do that. But you'll see it.
That's a
It's
lot of work.
a nice intimate venue, maybe 400 seater, and they'll have chairs, and you'll be on stage, and the lights and the sound are great. So,
Good, good. Well, I know that they're trying to push the show. I really appreciate it. It's a long way. It's a long way from where I'm from. So, but it's good to travel. We went up in that area last year, and we had a great success playing in the bars and honky tonk. So I'm excited to do a real theater this time. We're less than a month out from our second Grand Ole Opry show. we got the debut back in December. So I'm going to play some of the songs that we did on the Opry and some of the songs we'll do this next time too.
So when you play with full band, how many pieces you have when it's instrumentation?
It's 4 or 5. It just kind of depends on the finances and the budget and all the logistics that are going along with the show. But we do a standard bass and drums for rhythm, and I play rhythm guitar. And then we have a steel and a guitar. Sometimes that's the same person going back and forth.
Right.
Sometimes we have twin steels, we have two steels. It just kind of depends on if we're playing for a dancing crowd or who's available to play with us that night and stuff like that.
Sure.
But usually 4 or 5 piece band.
So that's great, and we're happy that you're coming as a solo because we can really see what you're all about, experience the stories, do a strip down
Yeah.
to the bare minimum, all that kind of good stuff. Um,
I haven't gotten a complaint, so I hope that people come.
oh sure, oh sure. Now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
read some stuff doing some research, and it said you were a school teacher. What did you teach before you decided to just go full time in music?
Yeah, I taught. I didn't go to school to be a teacher either. I I went to school in agriculture. My family is from a ranching family. We've been ranching in the same place since the 30s, and and so I taught mainly third grade math, and I didn't quit to be a full time. Like I didn't completely jump into this music career until I was 39, and I just didn't want to turn 40 and not go for it. I didn't have a husband or kids or anything like that. I just had a little cat named Beans. So I was like, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it, and it's been great. But yeah, I taught school for 12 years.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, it got to the point I was just too busy. I ended up taking George Costanza naps under my desk while the kids were at PE and
Sitting
computer
there doing
class and stuff like
that.
that.
I taught myself as I was coming up, just waiting to become a rock star, which it never really happened. But I can remember times when I was like being in the teacher's lounge,
Yeah.
cracked out, and somebody, what the hell's going on in here? You know, it's like
Yeah.
there's a certain level of being a teacher you have to, at least back in the day, you had to maintain a certain decorum. But
Sure.
your kids, I guess your kids, some of the kids you taught know that you're in the music scene now, or you keep in touch with any of them, or
I don't necessarily keep in touch with them, but there's some funny stories there. Like while I guess a year or two before I quit, while I was still teaching, the kids would come in and be like, Miss Dean, is this you? And I would just deny all of it. No, no, it's she looks just like me. That's weird. Oh, she got the same name as me too. That's weird. That's not me. I don't know. Weird. And they knew I was kidding, but I played it off. And now I can still see some of the comments on YouTube, like, that's my math teacher.
oh, how about that? How about that?
But it's neat. And some of them, I guess I've seen some of them at shows, and now they bring their wives or whatever. It's crazy.
Cool. And you played all
It
over the
seems like a
world.
lifetime ago.
You played all over the world, right?
Yeah.
Australia, I
Yeah.
saw in the article.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite overseas place? Do you have one to play at?
You love different places for different reasons. Sometimes you love how beautiful the venue is with the view or a sound or a vibe, and sometimes you love uh, the night that you played because the crowd was so great, and sometimes you love it for different reasons, But man, we had a great playing in Melbourne was really neat. There's a unique country music scene that's just bubbling up there, and uh, all the people that brought me over to Australia, I had to pinch myself all the time. Like, what am I doing playing on Gold Coast, Australia, looking at the water, and there's thousands of people singing a song back to me that I wrote about baling wire. Like, where has this life taken me, And then in London, when I can't believe that, hundreds of people bought tickets. It's just like, it's crazy to think uh, how it spreads that fast and how much people love country music and are just yearning for it. And so you like different places for different reasons, but those Melbourne and London kind of stick out to me right now.
Well, Elkton's just about like that. You'll find out.
I
Anyway,
can't wait. I hope that people come.
yes,
Yeah.
there's good people everywhere, including Cecil County, and there are people who love country music all over the world. And am particularly interested in this baling wire song. I hope you play that because I use that blue hay rope for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, sure. That's good stuff. That's probably more practical. It's not as environmentally friendly, but uh, but the Balin Wire is actually a poem. It's a talking poem, like a cowboy poetry song that I have, and I had no idea. I write one song a week with this accountability group, and the word of the week one week was wire, and so I just wrote about all the uses of balun wire and had no idea it would end up being some of people's favorites. It ended up being a real nostalgic song, and I had no idea. But I wasn't going to do it on this trip, but
You
I
don't
think
have
I
to.
will.
You don't
I
have to.
think I will. No, I would like to because we never do it with the band. So this is my chance to do it, you know, without the when the band's not here. So
Well, you've been, let me see, you started when you were 39, you're 39 and a half now, right?
yeah. Well, I didn't start when I was 39 necessarily. I just went full time at 39. Like I did this in college. And then, I never thought it was a realistic job. I never thought I was pretty enough or a good enough singer or whatever. I just kept talking myself out of my dreams. And then I just, I just had to get out of that mindset. So I'm 45 and, but like I did it before then a lot. I just didn't dive all the way in and
Right.
go for it until 39.
At a song a week, you must have a lot of songs under your belt.
Yes, now they're not all good, but I do write one a week. Sometimes they're absolutely terrible. When I don't have an idea, I just write a Christmas song. just bah, just get one out. But the idea is to keep the exercise going, and even when you don't have any ideas, you got to have your song in by Wednesday at midnight every week. So the practice is moreover for stamina and accountability than it is for actual good songs. But my last entire album was all written in on a Wednesday. Yeah.
How about that? And what is your last entire album? Most
It's called
recent?
The Biggest Life. It's called The Biggest Life. It's 13. We recorded 14, and only 13 made the album. And it was done completely analog. Never was a computer used during the entire making of um, the whole album. And it's pretty cool. That was fun.
That's, that harkens to like the old, I'm reading these, when I go back to this Country Music Awards in Texas, I want to bring every performer there because they're from all over the world. One of these cheap cowboy Western novels, and the
Yeah,
artist,
like a Louis L'Amour.
Louis L'Amour or this John Stone guy or whatever.
Mhm.
But he said, why do people like Western novels? Because they're so honest. And I think you can say the same thing about the country Western music. Slices of life, real
Yeah,
slices.
I think so, or at least the roots of country music. If you love reading westerns, I'm sure you read Larry McMurtry and Cormac McCarthy, right?
Larry McMurtry, that's on my list. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get free books, so I got tons of them.
yeah. Oh, you got to read Larry McMurtry. It's some of the best. Him and Cormac McCarthy is some of the best Western vernacular ever, ever. Of course, that's Lonesome Dove and Cormac McCarthy had let's see to reference it to pop culture, like the movie All the Pretty Horses that Billy Bob Thornton directed, and that's one of Cormac McCarthy's books in a trilogy. Man, that's some of the best Western vernacular that exists.
So, have you ever thought about dabbling in movies or television or acting or anything like that?
I've done a little bit of acting. I would love to. There's some things going, but nothing is all the way solidified. So I don't want to talk about it yet.
Yeah.
I don't want to, loose lips sink ships, and I want it to happen. So I'll just wait.
All right, Summer. You've talked about your albums. You've talked about how you got started. We talked about some of the places you played, and we've talked about some of your awards. What else do we need to talk about here?
Well, the, we can talk about this show. I mean, I'm excited for people to come. I know that like I'll repeat myself. Like you may not recognize my name or my face on the poster, but I promise I'll give you a good show. And what's the weather like up there now? It's beautiful down here in Texas.
We got no frost in sight for the next 10 days. So, like I said, I'm planting a lot of stuff, taking chances because we can get a frost up to May 15th. We haven't.
What?
Oh yeah.
It's summertime down here. We're swimming already. Like we're already sweating and sunscreen, air conditioners on.
Yeah, it's a little chilly still here. It varies.
Okay, noted.
One day it would be 80, and the next day it would be down in the 40s.
Yeah, noted. Okay, 40s. All right. 40s during the day. Wow, it gets about 80 at night here. Well, it's a little cooler than that right now because we're not quite at summer yet, but
Wow.
well, that's going to be a nice
So
reprieve.
you're in the south of Texas,
No, I'm in North Texas. I live in Fort Worth.
and it gets 80s at night already.
Oh no, not already. Not already. It will though.
Oh,
No, in South, we're probably about in the 80s during the day right now.
yeah, it's big state. I look forward to seeing more of it. We look forward to seeing you in Elkton Music Hall Friday, May 2nd. Start at 8 o'clock. You can hit the Elkton Music Hall folks out there for tickets. See Summer Dean and see all kinds of stuff, including maybe even a song about baling wire and real honest slices of life. Three albums you have
Absolutely.
out.
I'll
3 albums you have out now, right?
Yeah, 3 albums and a single, and I'll bring it. I'll
Yeah.
bring it. I got some new merch that nobody's ever had before.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for talking with us, and we look forward to seeing you on May 2nd.
Yeah, see you then.